Um, Now it's live.
Hey everybody, it's My Point Is back from a very long hiatus. If you don't remember my name, I'm Candace Montague.
And I'm Larry Bryant, straight from the Nation of Islam.
Don't believe that, guys. So,
Go ahead.
Larry, introduce our guests. We have two guests tonight, which is very interesting because we have normally had just one. So we have two great and very interesting guests joining us tonight. Larry's going to introduce you to the first one.
Yes, so many of you know this young lady from her dynamic work both online and in Colorado. Um, an amazing advocate, activist in her own right, creative, articulate, powerful. Positive D is with us.
Hi, everybody.
All the way from the Rocky Mountain State. And one of the reasons Dee is with us is that she hosts her own online radio show that she's going to talk about. And I had the opportunity, the honor to participate in it a couple of weeks or a week and a half ago around a topic that they came up with. So I'll just kind of pass it to you, Dee.
Well, I started the radio show 2 years ago. Not any thought at all that it would last this long. Not saying that I didn't have any confidence in myself, but I was approached by someone by the name of Ronald Spikes, who runs that part of Blog Talk, and asked me, did me and a group of other women wanted to start a show. No one ever showed up but me. So he told me that I was going to do it by myself because I wanted it too bad. And that's how I ended up doing the show. And it was a learning process, and I've gotten better at it as time goes on. I love it. I can't see myself not doing the show at all. It's called Positively HIV/AIDS Discussion. And what I do is I have a different topic every Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and the topics can range from anywhere from gay, lesbian, transgender, heterosexual, women with HIV, depression. I mean, the list goes on and on. The ADA laws. This week, that's what it's going to be about, but it's always about something. So I spend my whole week trying to find individuals to come onto the show. It's like a job, so it's not easy. People think it's easy, but it's not. It's really, really hard. I message on LinkedIn. I ask people, do they want to come on? I do it on Twitter. So that's basically what the show entails. Anything that has to do with HIV, STDs too. So if there's anybody that wants to come on, they can try to message me or email me, and I'll let them on the show. It's free for anybody to come on, just to educate the community on HIV and to try to eliminate the stigma that's attached to it. And a lot of people come on and share their stories too.
Now, Dee, when you say that it's hard to get guests, is it because of the subject matter, or you're just trying to keep it fresh and you have a hard time finding new people to interview?
It's a process because, see, I'm doing it. I try to get my guests, but I'm doing it on social media. I'm not out in the community going to find people to be on the show. It's through social media. So I'm doing a lot of messaging. I'll see somebody put something up on Twitter, and I'll message them and tell them about the show, to ask them, do they want to be on. Some people answer, some people don't. I've had a couple of RNs on from LinkedIn. I've had a gentleman on from LinkedIn. Most of the people I've found, though, were really from LinkedIn. Sometimes I go on the internet, and if I have a topic in my head, I'll go search on the internet, and I'll contact that organization to see if there's anybody from that organization that wants to be on. So the same, like this week that's coming up, there's a woman that's going to be on from I can't believe I can't remember. She's an attorney,
Okay.
and she represents people that in regards to the ADA laws. So she's going to be on. So anybody that has a question as far as the laws that in regards to HIV, she'll be able to answer for anybody.
Now, tell us, I guess, a little bit about because you started right when you started the show. What? Tell us about you. Where you're from, what brought you, you know, here today.
I'm from California, originally, born and raised. Lived in Las Vegas for 10.5, almost 11 years, and now I'm in Denver. Uh, been living with HIV for 19 years. I was diagnosed in 1997 from a 10-year relationship. Didn't find out I contracted until the relationship was over after 3 months. And married 2 years after that. Had a child. She will be 15 in August. She's negative. Not married anymore. Was almost married 15 years. My ex-husband still negative. I didn't start advocating right away. I've only been advocating now maybe 4 years. And there wasn't really a particular reason why I didn't. I just never advocated. Was busy home, taking care of the home, working, family. Didn't even have one friend that was living with HIV, but I was never secretive about my status with anybody. So I think that's why it was so easy for me when I started advocating to just come out and let people know that I was diagnosed with HIV because I never had a problem with it.
How did you approach this subject with your husband, and how did you break that ice? I think that's a big stumbling block for people is they don't know how to quite start that conversation, so they kind of just shy away from it. How did you do that?
I was 29. To me, that's young, and I'm 46 now, so I didn't care when I was 29.
Yeah.
I met him and I told him maybe it was like 2 days later. We were out eating, and I just told him I have HIV, and he was fine with it. And I think I wasn't that uncomfortable with telling him because he was someone that was he had a cleaning business, so on his time off, he would go for an hour and a half, 2 hour break and deliver food to AIDS patients. So I think that's why I didn't have such a hard time because I knew that he already knew about the disease. So it was really easy. It didn't bother him. He didn't care one bit.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, he didn't care one bit.
What a patient man. I think that's really wonderful that he didn't have a problem with that at all and didn't react or overreact as we all hear about.
But we did. We got married 9 months later, and then I had my baby 9 months after that.
Wow.
A year after that, about a year after that.
Okay, just to let you know, I haven't gone away. I'm trying to connect William, so you guys keep on going. I'm still here.
But I've here in Denver, I haven't done much as far as advocating. When I first moved here, there was the what is it in August? Oh goodness gracious, it's coming up too. It was something that was going on, and because I just moved here, wasn't involved with any organization or anything, so I took it up on myself, and I took a video camera. And it was cold that day, and I went around to different businesses inside to ask them the question, what is HIV and what is AIDS? And to see if they can answer. And what I did is I took my own money and I bought $5 Starbucks cards. And I would tell someone when I walked up to them that, do you want to earn a $5 Starbucks card? It's cold. You can get you some coffee. Oh, sure. So just need you to answer a couple questions. And I filmed it and I put it on YouTube. But that's what I did for that particular awareness day. I don't know why I can't remember what day it was, but it was one of the awareness days I did that for.
Wow. Did you get a lot of participants in that?
Everybody participated that I asked.
Wow.
Yeah. They wanted that Starbucks card.
That's very progressive. That's good.
Yeah.
So what were their answers like?
No one knew what HIV stood for. I think it was only one woman knew. And then I asked them about AIDS, and then I had to let them know that you don't just contract AIDS, you have to have HIV first. And then it progresses into AIDS, and it only progresses into AIDS if you're not taking your medication. So yeah, I'm going to do it again. But this time I'm gonna walk downtown and do it. I just went in businesses because it was so cold outside.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I would love to see what people's responses are because it's hard to believe that here we are 30 something years after the disease hit, so to speak, and people still have absolutely no idea what that is.
Still
Is that
don't
the climate in Colorado, maybe? Is that just.
know. Even in Las Vegas, there's a lot of people that still don't know what HIV is. They heard of HIV, and if you ask someone, they say, "Well, people die from that." I said, "No, they don't die from HIV anymore." And you have to explain it to them. But there's still a lot of people that are not educated on the disease at all. It's
Right.
kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. Which, I mean, one of the reasons why we're having this conversation is because the topic of the radio show, your radio program that you had a couple Saturdays ago, about heterosexual men living with HIV. You told the story kind of on the show about how you prompted, what inspired you to have that as a topic. Tell us, and I know Candace, I was there. Candace wasn't on the show, but there was a lot of people that were very interested in this topic.
There were a lot of people on that call that day.
Some crazy.
Yeah, it really was a lot of people on that call. That was a really good show. And of course, Larry was on with along with Bernard Young, Henry Calderon, and Curtis Williams, all heterosexual men diagnosed with HIV. And the reason why it prompted me to do the show is it has been bothering me for a long time. Um, as far as heterosexual men, I get a lot of messages from heterosexual men that have been diagnosed with HIV, and they're always saying that there's nothing for them. There's nothing. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. Um, they're tired of being looked at as being gay when they're not. They're ashamed. Um, so me and Bernard Young, I joined a group that he had, and as time progressed, me and him would talk on the phone a lot about this particular issue. And so once he said that he was ready because he hadn't came out all the way with his status. His family knows, friends know, but not on his Facebook or so once he told me that he was ready, first thing popped in my head was bow tie. Bow tie. And this is why Larry has a bow tie on. And I thank him so much for wearing it. And Bernard said, bow tie? I said, yeah, we can wear bow ties for heterosexual men that are diagnosed with HIV. And then Bernard said, well, let's call it the bow tie movement. So that's where it came from.
Oh,
And
I love that. I love that idea.
so I'm trying to get someone now to make bow ties to represent the bow tie movement, just a particular bow tie that everybody can purchase. And I'm hoping on, was it August 16th, Larry, the HIV awareness, the National Heterosexual HIV Awareness Day that William is trying to work on. I'm hoping that a lot of people purchase a bow tie and wear it on that day. And it's,
Yeah, I mean, that would be an amazing thing.
yeah,
Now, I will admit, and I'm probably on record of saying this on this particular format as well, that awareness days, uh, we got a lot of them,
yeah,
and we're 30 plus years into an epidemic where if we're now just becoming aware, or if our goal is to just be aware, then that to me, that's not the goal we should be aiming for. However, I do realize that with action, we first have to be aware, and that those who, especially, and a lot, Bernard, William, there's a lot of other guys on the call, and women, who were on the call that talked about kind of real life things that we can do.
Yeah.
Uh, People, decision makers, community-based organizations, that, where we can influence a change in that. We can make a change in that, and not just. I mean, I love this bow tie. I actually might wear it, like, in real life one day. Uh, I have a lot of things you can go with this shirt, really.
Well,
But I also, I mean, the goal obviously is not just the bow tie, but is to raise awareness, is to kind of transform or have a entry into some action, into kind of open conversations around this.
thank you. Yes. It is to make others aware. The bow tie is just a piece.
Yeah.
It's just
It's just a what?
a piece. I just say it's just a piece that goes with it. But Bernard Young has gotten a seat at the table
Mm-hmm.
at the conference in September, and that's a big step too.
Which conference is that?
The Positive Living Conference
In Florida.
in Florida, and he ended up speaking to someone, and they got him a seat at the table, and he can have other heterosexual men join him, and they can discuss the issues that they need to address as far as heterosexual men being left on the back burner, and no one has really paid attention to their needs. So I think that's a start. It's really a start, and that's part of the reason how the bow ties came about too, because we just said we were all going to wear bow ties to represent and to show that we are standing with the heterosexual men.
So
that's what.
from that call, and from the comments, because you and I both know there was a long stream of comments that went all over the map.
It lasted about 5 days.
Yeah.
And it's going every now and again. You'll see somebody post something. Yeah, it's going long.
What to you, and I know it's a lot, but what to you, just off the top of your head, stood out as some of the most interesting, and then some of the most like, okay, where the hell did that come from?
Just to let Candace know, I was on the internet searching for any organization that had to do with heterosexual men that are diagnosed with HIV, and nothing came up. I was trying to find someone from an organization to be on my show, and nothing came up at all.
No.
And what came up, I think it was the second from the top, was this article. So I clicked it, and boom, there's Larry's face. So I says, oh, I know him. So I took the article and I put it on Facebook, and I said something to the effect of, why are heterosexual men not being heard? Why are they put on the back burner? Why are they left behind? Something to that effect of why no one is listening to them. And the comments were unbelievable. I don't even think they read the article, to tell you the honest truth.
Unbelievable good or unbelievable?
No,
Oh my God.
unbelievable bad. They started arguing on Facebook. It went into, well, bisexual women aren't heard, lesbians aren't heard, and it just spiraled into something that I didn't expect to happen. And I waited probably 3 days before I posted again. I just watched. And I finally had to say, this is sad. This is really, really sad. I posted an article, about heterosexual men. Did any of you even read the article? No one said, good job, Larry. Nice article. Way to go, Instead, all of you are talking about self. You're not. You didn't even join what the post was about. It was all about you. And it really bothered me. It bothered me bad.
And
So
and that's, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, this kind of work, and it just reminded me kind of, of the culture of a couple of things. This this like I'm a bigger victim than you, or kind of an either or mentality of rescue. Like, I thought someone said women and children first. What are you guys doing? Needing help. Um, and the idea, and I said it, I did the same. I mean, I watched and listened to a lot of the posts, and I think one of the things I eventually did post, I think the one thing I posted, or part of it, was, there's no way that heterosexual, particularly men of color, there are so many different social challenges and barriers that we have to deal with anyway, in addition to living with HIV.
yeah,
One, we need to be able to understand that entire continuum of influences before we're going to address this one thing. And the other thing, the other part was straight men, white, black, whatever race, nationality, um, can't succeed through this epidemic or through these societal challenges without the cooperation, without the collaboration of women, of gay men, of
yeah,
everyone else in our community. None of us live in a silo, and to I have no idea what that is. Can you hear that?
I don't think that's me.
I think someone is trying to call. Uh, he is. No, that was William. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. He's calling, but he's calling.
Yay! Yay, William, come on.
he
Oh,
made.
he's calling somewhere else. I don't know what something. This didn't ring. He should just be able to click a link and come in. But we'll figure it out. But yeah, it was just a lot of button heads, and it's it starts back in the early days of the epidemic, and around the funding of the programs that uh, for people living with HIV, and the organizations themselves fighting amongst themselves to for a slice of that funding pie, as opposed to fighting together for a larger pie. And the conversation, the comments on the post resembled that. And then then there are people talking about, well, yeah, I'm trying to find. I mean, it went to the whole down low. It went to the whole. I mean, it just went off the rails about just blame and, well, if you guys spoke up, ironically enough, this is the point we're trying to do that, and it's just being taken over by a bunch of other people dying to get their voice in. Hello.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's it's frustrating, and you would think, I guess people are wondering why is it bothering me so much, and I'm not a heterosexual man. Um, and I think it bothers me just for the simple fact that, like I said, there isn't much for them. And I have friends, male friends, that have been diagnosed with HIV, that have had problems for many, many years. So it frustrates me. So I'm going to keep pushing for heterosexual men to get the things they need and to get their voices heard. And if I have to help them, that's what I'm going to do.
And it seems like everybody needs support. The women need support from the men, and the men need support from the women. Instead of this crabs in a barrel effect where we're pulling each other down. No, we're more important. No, we're more important. You can't get anywhere that way. It sounds like it's something that has to be a collaborative effort where everybody can get ahead as they support one another.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I made a video, Candace, trying to prove my point about support. Um, you have to support everyone, whether it's the LBGT, transgender, children, everybody. And so I try to prove a point to let them know that this is why I'm supporting heterosexual men. I support everybody. So now I'm going to support them. So it has to be a group. It can't just be uh, one group. It has to be everyone. And I have, there are those from the LBGT that told me they'll join. They're just waiting. So I hope it turns out great and great things get accomplished from this, Larry. I really do.
So I'm still trying to connect them. Keep going. I know he's listening. I just can't see where he is. Mm. So,
Does he have a Gmail account? Can he go
Everybody usually does nowadays.
email and then because you emailed him an invite, right?
yeah, but I'm on his Google page now, the one that he just messaged from, where he said greetings, and I'm trying to I'm trying to send him the link there.
Wow.
That's odd. They can't get in.
So, D, what ideally, and I mean, William, I know has plenty to say. Obviously, he's helping to coordinate the HIV, the heterosexual HIV, the heterosexual men's HIV awareness day, and I believe he'll be one of the panelists that's been invited to speak at the Positive Living Conference. And I'm sure he has a lot of thoughts about what next steps can be, or real steps can be, about addressing straight men living with HIV. Where do you see, ideally from a woman, what would you like to see as next steps, and especially in the context of collaborating with other organizations or just kind of making real movement?
Very good.
There's William.
Very good. Hey, my friend, how you doing? You have to turn your mic on, William.
Just kind of making real movement.
Very good.
There's William. Can we hear you?
Hey, my friend,
Yes,
how you
I can
doing?
hear everybody. How's everybody doing?
We're-
Great.
So William, we were just talking about ranging from
How's everybody doing?
brief call last week to what inspired the conversation around straight men with HIV, and how we can better provide energy for that voice. But before we get into all that, I want you to just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you are, your mission, your ministry, what you're doing in the room. But before we get into all that, I want you to just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you are, your mission, your ministry. Like he's in Japan. He's got to take the lay or something. Oh, now he's gone.
Yeah, with some feedback.
Yeah.
Well, he was listening, I think he was listening to the live, because it's live, but it's really like a 5-second delay.
Okay.
Are listening live, and it's happening, but it's happening in a delay. Obviously, we are live, and he was looking at us live, but listening to the delay show.
Okay.
Come back.
So before he comes back, this is, hey, we're not professionals.
No, we're not.
And this is live. And this is why I'm drinking a beer. But D, so asking my question again, what, as a woman, actually both of you, Candace and D, what kind of real steps as women would you like to see made in kind of the effort to address the HIV epidemic among straight men, and just what that means in the larger context of addressing or ending the epidemic?
You want me to go ahead? I can go ahead first.
Yeah, that's cool.
I want to see more heterosexual men come out behind the shadows, um, to stop them from being so ashamed of being diagnosed with HIV. And it would help. It would help the stigma. It would help more straight men come forward. There aren't very many that are doing that. It would help the young heterosexual men that are getting diagnosed also, so they won't be afraid. That's what I really want to see. You don't see very many heterosexual men advocating for heterosexual men. There's only women, LBGT, and transgender. You don't really see heterosexual men advocating for heterosexual men. But there is one right there named William Francis that is doing a great job.
He's back. Yes.
Finally. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Larry
So
knows I'm old and I don't do this technology thing, but we worked it out eventually.
I actually think I'm older than you, but that's neither. So you heard, I guess, my tape delayed question earlier.
Yes, huh?
I cut to you on this.
Sure. Well, I'm now pastoring a church, Atlanta Faith in Action, the AFIA Center, which I really think was probably birthed from my diagnosis back in 2009. I didn't know it then, but definitely know it now, 7 years later. I really started to put the whole HIV thing around the social justice framework. And now very excited that not only do we have a church ministry, but we are doing social services around homelessness, poverty, education, HIV, obviously, and other health disparities. But building tiny homes for the homeless, putting in an urban garden to feed those that are hungry, aquaponics, which we're going to grow and farm fish as well. So it's been an exciting journey over the last 7 years. And again, I just think this was birthed out of my diagnosis and seeing that it was beyond HIV that I was really called for. So
Great.
I've never seen D before, so I think this is just the coolest thing. I only know the voice. Hello, Candace. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, that's okay.
So I had just asked Dee and Candace actually about starting with the call. Obviously, this is not the first conversation around straight men or straight black men with HIV and kind of addressing some of the systemic challenges that prevent or serve as barriers for getting into care, it's for education, etc. But with this conversation, the call before, the panel coming up, your work around the Awareness Day, and talk about the Awareness Day and what you've done to this point so far to kind of make that happen and put it on the calendar.
Sure.
But what are the goals you want to see moving forward?
This will be our third year that we're doing a National Heterosexual Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. We picked August 16th because nothing else was going on that month. And the first year that we did it was just really a group of men just having a conversation, an open dialogue about HIV and just different issues. Last year we brought on a partner. We were able to work with a couple of motorcycle clubs. So that was kind of cool, doing education and awareness with them, as well as we did a pretty good amount of testing as well. And it amazes me at all times when we go out to educate how many people don't know or what they don't know about HIV. And it always amazes me what they think they know about HIV and the stigmas and misinformation that is still out there some 35 years later. So what we're looking to do with the Awareness Day, we've had a couple of conversations with the city. Obviously, I couldn't be the only one that was pushing it, et cetera. So we want to expand to different cities. We want to establish a steering committee so we can start working on a national policy agenda. Larry, as you and I have talked in reference to putting some interventions in place, because for whatever reason, and again, not to blame a particular community, but the MSM community lays claim to HIV, And I think that's kind of interesting because heterosexual men are there, but we're classified under IDU. And we sort of get stuck into the IDU mold versus, oh, I'm also heterosexual, etc. So I think it is a matter of us all coming together, having a place at the table. As you and I have talked about, us taking leadership and allowing our voices to be heard. But I think the greatest challenge isn't necessarily getting in the door. It's been heterosexual men actually stepping up and making that claim to our spot at the table. I think we are ourselves, and our self-stigma that we place on ourselves, I think is probably the greatest thing that we need to overcome in the next couple of months if we're really going to make this Awareness Day and the panel and different things of that nature as impactful as it can be.
Excellent. I mean, go ahead. No, I think that's amazing. I think I think Dee said this. Well, everyone has kind of said it in different ways. That, I mean, obviously it can't just be us, us here on this call or any call, Bernard and all the other brothers, men that are out there, women supporting, so forth and so on. But, you know, in order to truly make policy change, we have to, you know, kind of influence the policymakers in that as well.
Right.
We have to influence the science. We have to influence research, the interventions, the community-based work. I had this conversation with someone the other day about, you know, the biggest perpetrator, if you will, about, you know, how HIV is branded around the country are community-based organizations. I mean, this is not a challenge or a you know, shot across the bow of the gay community, but the programs that, when I was diagnosed, and I've been, you know, positive for 30+ years. You know, most organizations provided solely services for gay men. And to cut corners or to stay afloat, recently a lot of organizations have reduced services to just gay. So those providers have to be at the forefront. Your Paul Kawatas, your Phil Wilsons, your, you know, the visible, you know, organizational leaders in the country. Charles King, you know, has to be, you know, we have to be vocal and kind of put pressure on them as well to make sure that this is not just, you know, a singular fight, but it's a collective fight and challenge that we can all address.
Exactly, and I don't think that they have looked at it from the standpoint that I've been talking about for the past couple of months. Is that when we put out communications that, you know, images anyway of gay men, we re-stigmatize the disease. But yet on the other end of that, we want to say, oh, we want to break the stigma, but we're the main perpetrators of stigmatizing the disease. So I'm excited about all that's coming up. I know I'm going to make my schedule as available as I possibly can. I don't always have to be on the main stage, but I want to be in the room and support other brothers that are doing their thing. So I'm really excited to be a part of this movement. And I did order my red bow tie, although I don't wear bow ties, but I did order my red bow tie. So I'll be rocking that very soon.
Thank you.
I literally pulled the price tag off this an hour ago. So, yeah.
little small, Doc. Elementary school, 7th grade graduation.
I have a question for William. I think someone was asking you the other day about a logo or a poster. Have you came up with anything for the Awareness Day on August 16th?
I do. I have. We're actually working. I don't know if you all can see the fist with the red ribbon. So we are working on take out the verbiage, but that is the logo that we've been using. Everyone, I think, is familiar, you know, from the social justice perspective of what the black fist means, and then really taking back HIV or taking hold of HIV. So just real excited that we are working around that concept.
Okay. Now I have another question. Now, is it going to be national Black heterosexual HIV awareness, or
Originally, that's how it
national
started, but
heterosexual?
I think it's going to go to national heterosexual,
Okay.
because it did start. It was just a group of Black heterosexuals, just talking about it. So I am going to take, on the bottom it says National Black. So we will be taking it off and just making it National Heterosexual Men,
Okay.
and working that. So Facebook is going to be redone. We have a call tomorrow at 9 p.m. and we'll sort of just flush all of those details out.
Okay.
Hmm.
And another thing, I think I told Larry, he's gonna send me a photo of him with a bow tie. And would you mind sending me a photo of you with a bow tie?
My bow tie is in the mail. I had one ordered from a friend of mine in North Carolina. So as soon as I receive it, I will go ahead and rock the bow tie.
I'm
Yes,
uh, I'm
custom
making a
bow
poster.
tie too or something?
Yeah, I'm getting a poster together with all of your guys' faces on it with the bow tie for that particular day. So if you guys want a poster, let me know and I'll send it.
That'd be way cool.
You got some kind of custom made bow tie coming to you?
Yeah,
It's I don't know if you know Geneva Galloway in Charlotte.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, her son actually does custom ties.
Oh, well,
So if I'm gonna rock a bow tie,
wait a
it ain't
minute,
gonna be a bow tie
what's his
looking like a
name?
men's horse. It's Geneva Galloway. It's her son. He has a company.
What's his name?
He
Because I
makes
use
very very
someone
cool bow ties.
named Brandon that makes custom made bow ties.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes, I got one in the mail
yeah, I
because
was
I
wondering.
don't want to look like a male course member,
Yeah,
or Ursher.
look, H&M, I need to step up my game.
yeah.
Right. No, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. But no, I think the concept around the bow tie was way cool, and I'm definitely going to ask some of my pastoral associates to make sure that all of their men on the 16th. I'm actually going to check, which I think that actually falls on a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
I was getting ready to ask, William, I know you said August because it's I guess it's wide open.
The date wasn't used.
What made August 16th the day? Like, why not?
We honestly just looked at other awareness days. Again, when we did it 2 years ago, August 16th fell on a Sunday, so it was easy to get the men in the church. We actually wore, well, they had on black suits and red at that time. So that was just really the 16th. There wasn't anything else going on in August. I am open to looking at another day as well, and that can be decided by the committee.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
have a question for you guys. I just recently saw something about good old Charlie Sheen, who
Hmm.
has said that he is having a hard time finding women now that he's admitted to being HIV positive. Do you think that is something that is a big concern for men who are positive, who are heterosexual but just don't want to say anything? Is that their concern, that they won't ever have sex again?
When I was first diagnosed, I was told that it would be hard to find a relationship. I was also told it would be easier for me to become gay with HIV, and if I wanted to be in a relationship. And that was told to me by a counselor at a very large organization that was here. Yes, I think it comes with its challenges if you're doing the right thing. But, and I'm not trying to say that I'm a playboy or anything, but I think more women appreciated the honesty, and then the fact that I was able to educate them and then obviously protect them. So speaking for me, it was not a challenge, and I'm going on 2 years of I've been married now for 2 years come July 4th. So for me, but that's how I was right after diagnosis. Once I sort of put it in a box, I didn't allow those things to keep me from what I wanted in my life. But what HIV did for me is because I was faced with my immortality, I had to go ahead and figure like, okay, well, what is it that I'm going to have said during my eulogy? going to be written on my obituary, what's going to actually be put on my tombstone, and it was going to be very boring before diagnosis. So what I've been able to accomplish in the last 7 years has been pretty damn impressive, if I do say so myself, because I was very complacent before diagnosis. But I haven't had any. I think I'm probably more bolder now than I probably was before my diagnosis. Before it was sort of like, yeah, I don't want her to say now or no. And now it's like, obviously before I got married, if you say no, you're missing out. So I think I'm a little more bolder now than I was before, because I know who I am after diagnosis.
I'm not quite sure that anyone is really shedding a tear over Charlie Sheen's dating life at the moment.
No.
I don't think
regardless of his status. But yeah, I agree with William in that. I mean, I think women, people. I mean, just having relationships. Period. It's appreciative of the honesty and the fact that you can trust or show trust in someone by disclosing. I think disclosing without the possibility or without the thought of sex or any kind of sexual contact, I think is far more. I think is appreciated in that it's look, I'm being me, and you accept me, and obviously the time for disclosure is an individual choice, but certainly doing it under the being honest about who you are, about your status, protecting the other person, I think is important. Also protecting yourself as well. I mean, I definitely think it impacts how you think about life. When I was diagnosed, I was told, in 1986 that I was going to die in 9 years or less. So the idea of dating didn't even come up for a long time. It was what is going to be said about me at my death, and who do I tell and how do I tell, and so a lot of that I had to kind of grow back into my socialization and understanding how to talk to people just about me. I mean, at 18, just stunted my entire social growth. What I would suggest, words I would give to someone now who's finding out their status is to just remember that it is not a death sentence, that HIV doesn't change you, it doesn't define you, and just like any other illness or any other frailty that one may have, being able to share that and trust your true friends with that information is very much in the same neighborhood. Those people that truly care about the person you are, and again, this not just being straight, but I think this is any level of any sexuality. Your real friends are going to be there. The people that appreciate and understand and accept you as a human being, those people will be there. Anybody else, that's kind of on them. You hope you can enlighten, you can open up, and you can be as accepting as the next person. But the reality is, it's not that easy.
I mean, for me, I don't think HIV even comes up after the initial conversation. It doesn't really come up. I mean, it's not an everyday conversation. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm healthy. I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do. So very seldom does it even come up in conversation. In our marriage. I mean, other than work, it really doesn't come up.
Except when we call you to do video podcasts.
Oh no, I just was not prepared to do all of this. I actually got dressed because I knew somebody else was going to be on the line.
I look all cold quarter up here.
Right. I got on pants.
I'm like LeBron James down here. So I don't know why I said that. So we're coming up on an hour, and generally we have these things go an hour because we want to keep you too long. But before we go, first I want and Candace and I to thank you guys for sharing and just being who you are. Not just for us, but obviously you both have a lot of people, including myself, that are fans of what you do. But both of you, please give your website or contact info, whatever you want to share. And I know you both have things upcoming, information that you want to share, so we can get out there. So Dee, we'll go with you first.
Well, if anybody wants to join Talk Radio show, you can call in every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and 5:30 p.m. Central Time at 347-855-8118, 347-855-8118. And you can call in, join the conversation. You can just listen. You can talk. It doesn't matter. If you need to email me about being on the show, you can email me at positively, and that's spelled with a Z instead of an S, at gmail.com. Positively spelled with a Z, D-E-E, at gmail.com. And I'm on Facebook as Positively D, Instagram, and Twitter.
Just Google Positively D with a Z everywhere.
And on YouTube. I'm on YouTube too as Positively D.
Thank you.
I guess for me, it's probably best to reach me through Facebook, William Francis, the Afia Center, or you can hit me up on William Francis Ministries. I think that would probably be the best way. If you message me your contact information, I'll forward you direct contact information to me. Again, excited to be doing this Tiny Homes for the Homeless project under the Zero campaign, and looking forward to working with the brothers August 16th for this National Heterosexual Men's HIV/AIDS Awareness. But my list of to-dos goes on and on and on. So just check me out, follow me on Facebook, and we'll be in contact real soon.
Great. Candace, did you want to share anything, or I know you have. I can see your face is glowing, so you got plenty you're thinking about.
I'm always glowing. I drink lots of water. See?
That what that is? Okay.
No, what I had messaged you about earlier this week was about this email. For those of you who don't know, and for you guys, Dee and William, I'm a writer. I write about health, and I started with and still do lots of writing about HIV. So I'm on a lot of email lists for press releases, and organizations send me information all the time. So the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS keeps me on their list, and they sent me recently, or I guess they sent everybody, their statement regarding the Orlando attack and how they felt about it and what what they want to say about it. It was a little late. I thought they could have said something a little earlier, but never mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just so disappointed because, okay, now I'll tell you what it says here. My computer's acting a little slow, but basically they said that innocent souls were lost and people were injured, and are we willing to continue to allow senseless mass slaughters on American soil using assault-style weapons? When would our leaders act to engage gun reform and prevent weapons of war ending up in the wrong hands? Granted, that's a beautiful statement, and I agree with them that the gun control is extremely important. But at this point in our time, they had a chance to really start shaking things up and start talking about how the church needs to be more supportive of the LGBT community. They could have really done this much better. I mean, they touched on how they need to rise above stigmas attached to LGBTQ individuals, but that was like a little blip, an afterthought. And when I think about the Orlando attacks, it wasn't just about gun control to me, it's about more than that. It's also about the stigma that surrounds the LGBT community and about the people who continue to shun them. And this man, who was
Yes.
gay himself, but had this self-hate thing going on, was very conflicted. Could he have been, maybe he would not have been as conflicted if he had the right type of support around him. And there's a lot of religious people who feel justified in hating the LGBT community. Well, then Blanca has a chance now to start turning things around and start looking at the religious community and saying, hey, wake up. This is our chance to finally start embracing and really getting over this stigma, this shunning, this virtual stoning of people who are in the LGBT community. I was just so disappointed with their statement. Like they really kind of glossed over a very big problem in the black community, which is homophobia, and it is still there. And that is part of the reason why this man went on this rampage and killed all these people. Part of it is homophobia. And I get the gun thing. It is very important, but it is also important to address that homophobia as well. And they didn't do that. And I was just,
Churches are obviously addressing the issue with the same-sex law that was passed. It made for some very robust conversation within the faith community. But I think there has to be someone that steps up to be the mediator. And what I mean by that is the LGBT community wants faith-based to respect their right by taking away the rights of some churches and faith leaders. Case in point, here in Georgia, there was a bill that was recently up for a vote that basically said that churches could refuse service to anybody from the LGBT community. So it really wound up splitting churches but there was no one there to be that mediator to really keep both sides of the issue on the commonality and not the differences. So I think there's a lot of issues that went on with Orlando. I agree with you in reference to self-hatred. The gay-on-gay crime that is not going to be talked about on the media because that's not what people want to hear. They want to hear that it was a Islamic terroristic attack. I think it just so happened that the gentleman was Islamic. The information is still coming out, but I think that's a dialogue where we have to have a mediator. So each side is heard, and I think there's a lot of organizations that don't want to take either side because of the backlash. And not making excuses for anyone. All churches are supposed to be inclusive. We're supposed to be focusing not on one's morality or sexuality, but focusing on humanity. And I think we have gotten away from that. I think the scripture is very clear as a faith leader. It is very clear to us that we are called to love our neighbor, and it doesn't say what type of neighbor we get to love. So I think that's a rough conversation, Candace. I don't see many people addressing it right down the middle, and I'm sort of waiting for whoever that person is going to be to really step up. But it's definitely not going to be anybody here in the South. And I'm surprised, with that organization, even from the North, not taking a stronger position one way or the other. But everyone seems to want to just play this gray area and play safe. And I don't think that's where the church needs to be. In these times, we really need to take a stand and make sure that we take the right stand.
That's disappointing.
They kind of fell. I read the press release also. And I think that they fell victim to the cut and paste press release.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like, hey, something happens, we blah 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 organization support, condemn the actions of XYZ, and we believe that we should change this before it does that, and so on. And because if you read, I think there was a couple of paragraphs, and the very next thing was talking about HIV. It was like a part of a newsletter. It wasn't a single standalone. Not to beat up on Mblanca, I have my own other issues with some of the stuff they've done in the past. But yeah, it had a very kind of dull tone to it, and seemed a little misguided. But I mean, obviously with that situation, with the shooting in Orlando at Post Club. I mean, there's a lot larger issues we need to be focused on than that press release, but that's a very big start. So.
I agree.
Anyway, they could have did a lot more, and I was just disappointed that they didn't really take that moment when they had it. So
I have heard some of the most vile comments in reference to Orlando. I mean, I have just really been in awe at some of the comments that have come from faith leaders, and the judgment starts within the church, and they'll have their day of reckoning. But I think we've missed the mark. The old guard has really missed the mark on a lot of issues as of late. HIV being one, issues within the LGBT community. There's a lot of issues that we're missing the mark. So hopefully we'll wake up. Larry said you wanted to change things, and I don't believe in change anymore. I think things need to be transformed. I've been saying the last couple of weeks I don't want a better butterfly. I don't want a better caterpillar. Rather, I want the butterfly, because things can be changed back once they're changed from. So we're really looking to transform some things here in Atlanta, and nationally with the work that I'm doing. But it's good to see you guys. This is our first time meeting, and Dean, first time seeing your lips move when you talk.
Okay.
I heard the voice and seen still photos, so I think it's kind of funny to actually get to see you pretty much live and in person.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, it's nice to see you, William.
Yeah, we try.
So I know, like I said, thank you again, Dee and William. All these conversations we need to keep having, and we have to also follow up on a lot of that as well. The talk is great. The community, the congregation is always healthy. Well, usually healthy, not always. But we also have to make sure that we're measuring forward and not just measuring success by the meeting and the conversation.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on this chat tonight. We appreciate you both for all your insight.
Thank you for inviting me.
And your honesty. I really appreciate it. I look forward to August 16th. I'm gonna get. Can I get a bow tie, or that's just a dude?
No, anybody.
I'm gonna get a bow tie.
Yeah.
Show my support. Yes, Larry. What do women want? We want you to ask us for some support. You don't have to ask me, but you can ask other women. I'll be right there with you guys. But thank you. We're gonna make sure we post your information on the My Point Is page so people can get in touch with you when they can. And this is also recorded on YouTube, so we can post the link for the replay for anybody who wants to join in.
Great.
All right.
From some of the comments I've seen, it looks like people are already watching. So.
Oh, good. Good.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll do this again. Hopefully more will join, huh? Nice meeting you, Candace.
All right, and Larry, I'll talk to you tomorrow night about this time.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank
you all.
Everybody.
Have a good evening.
All right, take